Good morning, Lead Fearlessly family. Today, I would like to talk about the first 5 minutes that will change your entire school year. I already talked to you about being prepared, going in before the students come, make sure everything is in its place, make sure everything is working long before the students arrive. It is now the first day of school. These students will behave the best that they're going to behave all year on the first day of school. I want you to remember that. You're going to open your door. You're going to allow your students to come in. And your students are going to take a seat for the first 5 minutes. All you're going to do is observe, watch, to see who sits next to who gathers around who sits in the front, who seems scared. You're just going to watch. You're going to watch, you're going to observe, and you're going to observe. And I guarantee you, you are going to learn so much in that first 5 minutes before you ever say a word. After you've watched for the first 5 minutes, you're going to take out a seating chart. And you're going to assign each student a seat. I know that might sound strange to you, that first 5 minutes can change your life, has to do with a seating chart. But let me tell you a story. I remember I observed a teacher, and when I walked in the classroom, all the kids were sitting in the back of the room. They had moved the desks, they had moved the chairs, and they were all sitting in the back of the room, talking, chatting. And I said to the teacher, well, who sits here in this seat? Who sit in this seat? And I'm pointing to the seats around the classroom. Who sits there? And this is in the middle of the year now. This is at the beginning of the school year. She said, I don't know. They all come in here and sit in the back of the room like that. So I said, there's no seating chart? And so she said no. And I know you might be thinking, come on, Miss Wayman, that's ridiculous. No seating chart? You would be amazed of how many educators don't assign a seat. It is the first leadership decision you will make the entire school year is assigning seats. So after you get finished observing them, watching what they do, where they congregate, you now take out your chart and you say, you sit here, you call the name. You sit here. If you don't know the names yet, you'll write them down when you're filling in the chart. I need you to sit right here, and I need you to sit right here. And you're going to fill in your seating chart. And you are going to tell your students that this is their assigned seat, and you expect for them to sit there every time they come into the classroom. Now, I know you may be saying, Ms. Wayman, this is urban education. And I have been in some of the toughest schools in this country. And I'm going to tell you, I would assign a seat. And I always had a student tell me, I'm not sitting there. I'm not getting up. I'm not sitting there. And I know some of you probably had the same experience I've had. And so I said, sir or madam, this is your assigned seat. I'm still not getting up. I'm not moving there. Okay. I don't argue with students. I don't debate with students. I don't tussle with students. I don't get into that. So after when the bell rang for the next class, I asked to speak to the young man. And the young man said yes. I said, sir, I have assigned you a seat. And I expect for you to sit in that seat every day that you come into this room. And if you do not sit in that seat, every assignment that you turn into me, I'm not grading because you're not in your assigned seat. I will only grade your work from the seat that I have assigned to you. Are we clear? Sometimes they'll look at me like I'm crazy. Sometimes they'll say yes. no time did they ever call my bluff because they knew I was serious. It is the first leadership decision you will make the entire school year is assigning your students a seat. It's your classroom. You decide where they go. Now, the seating chart is not etched in stone. You can always adapt and change the seats as the school year goes along when you realize that the students are sitting where everyone can learn equally. You are trying to create an environment so everybody can learn. You're not trying to keep people away from their friends or anything like that. You are trying to give every student in your class the best opportunity to learn. And that means that you have to lead first. They're watching you. They're always watching you. I need you to take hold of that classroom the first 5 minutes of the first day of school. Assign your seats. Lead fearlessly. Love hard. And remember, if nobody told you they loved you today, you remember I do, and I always will. Lead fearlessly and love hard.